I haven't said yeah. Hopefully, hopefully that's. The
Oh
second
no!
time
Don't
I've said
say
it.
that. Don't say that. That you're setting yourself up for disappointment. We're gonna get like 15 minutes in. You just said yeah without even thinking about it.
It's
You're
gonna be
like,
the
Right, I'm
opening.
saying things definitively again. Hello and welcome back to a particularly spooky episode of the Supertrope podcast. This is episode 7. Here with us tonight we have Cain,
Hey.
Cameron,
Whoa!
Tommy,
I was wondering who would do the spooky stuff.
and myself, Josh. And we are sans Cody tonight, but that's okay. We are going to trudge straight on ahead. So, yeah, we got some ground to cover with our top 100 later at the end of this episode, and we have some spookier game stuff to talk about later. But in the short term here, Cain, what have you been playing?
So, there's a couple things that I've been playing. I've hardly touched WoW, actually, in the past week. Kind of laid
This
that.
is 2 episodes in a row.
I
This is
know.
a big step for you.
I'm still kind of doing like dailies and stuff, but nothing worth talking about.
We should do
But
something
the main
special
thing-
for the third episode.
Is it the 3rd?
No, it's the second. Next one will be the third, though. Although he's gonna now play it viciously with his mom to prove us wrong.
Yep. Yep. We gotta do something for that. Can't go 3 weeks.
Too much of that paladins.
But yeah, so after the Nintendo Switch reveal, I got real excited about that new Mario game. And I was like, you know what? I've been playing a lot of World of Warcraft lately. And I just kind of miss a video game that just feels like a video game. You know? Just video game.
Gotta get back to your roots.
So I downloaded the Dolphin emulator on my PC, which for those of you who don't know is a GameCube and Wii emulator that runs very well. And I managed to get a ISO of Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Gasp.
And I have been playing that pretty much nonstop for 4 or 5 days. I have the graphics cranked up to 2560 by 1440p. It looks better than a Wii U game. It looks absolutely incredible. Like jawed.
Should it go on the record that you have this game, Cameron or Cain?
Yes, I do own this game. Actually,
Okay.
2 different
Cool.
ways. I own the disc and I own
Alright.
it on Wii U Virtual Console.
Just for all of the
make
FBI
sure-
agents out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
What's a remastered game you've played somewhat recently? Like, did you play Last of Us, The Last of Us Remastered, or anything of that ilk, Cain?
I did, yeah. I actually, it's funny that you say that because I just played The Last of Us Remastered on Sunday. I was on a date and we played the beginning of it because I wanted to like show her
Nice.
like spooky, scary stuff.
Last of Us on the first date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't the first date, but yeah.
Oh.
So we played that,
Okay.
and the like in-game cinematics look great, but the like the in-game play stuff didn't look as great as I remember it looking.
I was gonna say, so say that that's on a 1 to 10 scale, a 5 on the improvement scale. What's Galaxy on the Dolphin emulator? Because I've only heard tell.
So if you put Super Mario Galaxy 1 or 2 into your Wii on your 60-inch TV and you play it at 480p, you'll be like, oh, this looks kind of gross. It's grainy and kind of looks bad. If you put it on the Dolphin emulator and crank the settings to 1080p or higher, it literally looks better than any console game.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I think Nintendo's art style shines through, especially when
It's
situations
so
like
does.
that. Yeah.
Like there are some jaggies and some of like the sprites that aren't 3D, you know,
Sure.
are brought straight over, but man, it is incredible. And I'm not playing it with a Wiimote. I'm emulating a Wiimote on my Xbox One Elite controller. So I'm playing Super Mario Galaxy 2 on a real controller. And let me tell you, it is glorious.
Take that, Reggie.
Yeah.
Man,
I
all the
can't stop
Nintendo
playing it.
fans out there, I think they just,
I
think
They
they
just-
threw up a little bit in their
Yeah,
mouth.
they're just like, all right, I'm never listening to this podcast again.
I know he's emulating what a lot of people consider Nintendo's greatest achievement of the past 10 years on an Xbox One controller.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. I want to see
yeah.
that. You should actually I don't know about YouTube rights and all that, but if you could, you should
Yeah,
totally
Nintendo's
record that.
shitty about
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would love
Nintendo,
to
you gotta
see it.
whitelist them.
If you can record it, which you probably can't, you should do that.
Totally. Yeah, I'll look into doing that. But I mean, it's super easy to do. It's really not that hard. And setting up the controls is a little bit weird because you need to You basically need to simulate the pointer on the screen, and there's some tilt stuff, but you can totally do it. It's not hard, and it works fine. Like, my right analog stick is just purely the pointer. So it's incredible. Like, playing through that game again just gives me such an appreciation for that. So I will save how much I love Super Mario Galaxy for when we get to that part on our list.
Yep.
But
Nice and fresh now too.
Oh
yeah,
man.
right?
Yeah, it's Nintendo is the best in the biz.
I need to go play BioShock. Strengthen my arguments.
Yeah, go play BioShock. See how that shooting feels. Let me know.
Oh man, I almost feel like I'm gonna need to play through Last of Us again. So,
Right.
So yeah, other than that, I went into GameStop over the weekend and just happened to walk into the store and saw that Rock Band Rivals was out, and I went, "Huh, I really like Rock Band. I forgot that this was a thing." So I kind of look it up on my phone, and apparently they released the new guitar in this bundle. There's a new drum set that has new, I guess, precision enhancements, you could say, for people like me who are weird. So I bought that. I dropped $200 on it. The guitar is the best guitar that I've ever used in any instrument, like Rock Band Guitar Hero game. It is flawless, like full comboing expert songs that I have not cleared. Have not done that in years. So that felt great. The drums, on the other hand, not so great. They're kind of defective. So I need to send those back. Half of the pads don't respond right. So that's a bummer.
I thought you meant the actual kit was just bad and not just your particular one.
No, I think it is just my particular one. The actual latency of it is actually really good. Like on the wireless kits before, you used to hit the drum set during a solo, where it's freestyle, and it would lag. Like there'd be half a second of lag when you would hit the freestyle.
Totally noticeable.
Oh, that would suck.
That is gone. In the new one, that is completely gone. There's no latency at all, which is great, but the pads are kind of shitty. So that's a whole nother thing, but the Rock Band Rivals DLC has this new mode called Rock You Drama, which basically you create a band and they and they have this thing.
Can I be a VH1? Where are they now behind the music?
No, that's exactly what it's called. It's called Beneath the Tunage.
Sweet.
So
Beneath the Tunage.
Yeah. You basically make a rock doc. They have all the harmonics devs on screen just being biology teacher. Man, I saw those kids playing that music in the class school. It's totally
That's
campy,
actually pretty good. They cited Spinal
funny.
Tap when they were developing it. I remember that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's totally dumb, but it's really funny. The story is totally laugh out loud. There's a part in the story where your band goes on plays an amazing show on a ship, and then apparently some guy didn't wash his hands, and everybody just ends up shitting and puking all over the boat, and just the people the people interviewing for the rock doc are just there was poop everywhere. We didn't know what to do. It's totally head in hands stupid, but they sell it and it's really
just
funny.
Reminds me of that scene in The Goonies where he's just and then he started puking, and then everyone was puking, and it was just puke on puke, and it was chain reaction puke.
Yeah, and that incident breaks up your band, and it's totally silly, but it's great. It's really fun.
So I have a question with that. Is with the customization, with the divas. I'm sorry, I keep thinking this is divas. It's Rivals, right?
Yeah, Rivals, yeah.
Rock Band Rivals, and if they're doing this whole rockumentary thing, how's the customization? Your character, that's always something I feel like they could maybe take a step upwards with.
Still very bad. There's probably 7 haircuts. There's a decent amount of clothes and stuff like that, but you don't actually pick your clothes when you create your character. You get the money and then you buy the clothes out of your closet. And there's maybe 6 or 7 faces. It's pretty lackluster. The customization's pretty bad. You have to be a skinny 100-pound male or female.
Right.
So
I'm a VR person.
Yeah.
Yes, you can be VR.
Is there a moment where my band can forget the name of the city that we're playing in?
Probably. I don't know. I'm not that far through it yet, but there's lots of room for stupid stuff.
Nice.
So, but
awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, really, for me.
Right on. Cool. How about you, Cameron? What's going on in the gaming world for you?
Kind of more the same for me. I've been looking at spooky games, but not buying those. We'll talk about that later. But really, a lot of Civilization 6. I'm starting to record some stuff and put it up on the YouTubes. Doing dare I call it, historical playthroughs, loosely. I'm pretty much achievement chasing and trying to almost roleplay the civilization of who I'm playing. Beyond that, nerdy history video game stuff, I'm also doing nerdy Mario making stuff and making Halloween levels and trying to make some levels for our Extra Life event soon. And that's kind of about it, really. One of the slower weeks for me in a while. There was a lot of games I feel like I'm neglecting. Battlefield 1 in general was kind of so good that it took away some of the air in the sails from Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and Titanfall 2 for me. Especially Titanfall 2, I'm very interested in that campaign and multiplayer, but haven't even looked twice at it.
Yeah,
So,
I really want to play it too.
Yeah,
If it wasn't for Battlefield, I would have bought it already.
right. It's a tough time of the year for video games that way. But Halloween, of course, and getting ready for our 24-hour video game charity event. That's the majority of what I've been playing in a weird way.
Nice. Right on. How about you, Tommy?
Same as Cameron. More of the same. Still playing primarily Mafia 3, a little bit of WoW and everything like that. So not really a whole lot of new stuff. I'm like Cameron, just busy with other games, and I want to check out Titanfall 2, and I want to check out Infinite Warfare when it comes out. Don't know if busy holiday season and what I already have will allow for that, but have I told you guys about what my keyboard does when I'm playing Mafia 3?
Nope.
It lights up. Like, I have a Logitech G920, I think is the keyboard, and so when I load up Mafia 3, my keyboard is one where you can assign color schemes to it. And each individual key, if you so want, if you want to bling it out like that. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, when I sign into Mafia 3 from Steam, it darkens all the keys, and then it lights up 3 columns of red ones to be the Mafia 3 symbol and everything like that. I didn't notice this, really. I was like, okay, because of how a keyboard is laid out, it can't be straight up and down columns, so they're kind of at an angle. I didn't really notice this until I was starting to play, and I go into an area where I'm trespassing, and then all my keys light up orange, because it's like warning me that I'm in an area that I shouldn't be in. But I really noticed it when I was playing the tutorial and I was being chased by the cops, and my keyboard basically just lights up like a siren. It alternates awesome. Red and blue and everything like that. I'm playing on a controller still, but it's just like, hey, you're being chased by the cops. And I'm like, thank you, keyboard.
That's actually kind of cool. Yeah.
I already know this, but it's cool that you're looking out for me.
The moment you said that my keyboard lights up when I play Mafia 3, that was the first thing my brain jumped towards. So congratulations, developer, you did it. That's awesome.
It's the only game I've played so far that does it, and it does it in that way. I didn't program anything.
Yeah, that's cool too.
You didn't do that.
With a lot of that weirder stuff. I have the Logitech with the screen on it, and it didn't always just go right away. And you had to download silly stuff for it to.
Yeah, this just happens, and it happened in such a subtle fashion that I didn't notice it until. My keyboard is just flashing red and blue. And I was like, is my keyboard going bad? Like, it's freaking out. What's going on? And then I'm like, oh, I'm running from the cops. Okay. So that was it. Nice. So, yeah, really cool. Still playing Mafia 3 and WoW. And, now you got a keyboard story and everything like that. But
sweet.
That's pretty much it. Haven't really been doing many spooky games or anything like that. I did, I'll save this for that segment, actually. So...
Okay. Yep, the spooky segment that's coming after we talk about our video games.
Yep, after Josh talks about his VR experiences.
Yes. Yeah, so, the other night I had a few beers. I'm like, fuck it, man. Let's play every VR game my own.
Don't have to worry about getting pulled over or
that's what I do when I get
accident.
So, so I sat down with the demo disc and I just played everything on there. And I came to... a very sudden realization that I think horror games on VR are absolutely the best experience on that device. I love it because it's sorry again, I just noticed all your Rock Band on your bed.
Right? Used and thrown on the bed.
Yeah, right. But anyways, so I always forget what it's called. It's called like lights or like keep the lights or lights down low or something. I don't know. But it's just a game where you're just kind of walking around in an abandoned subway tunnel. And there's anthropomorphic people in there where they are just people from the heads down, but their heads are replaced with like dogs or goats or pigs. This is not a game Cain should play.
Yeah, nope.
And these aren't masks either. These are
they're actual animal heads.
Okay.
And they just like in certain segments, like where areas open up, they're just standing from the opposite side of the room from you, which is a good distance off, and you can barely see them. And they just like cock their head and like kind of watch you as you walk around a room.
Nope.
So it's more scary, atmospheric experience
Yeah.
than jump scare. Cool.
And then, like, some of them will be, like, waiting behind doors and just, like, beat the shit out of you with lead pipes. And, it's a crazy game, and it's also just designed to totally fuck with your perception all the way around. It gets kind of, like, super crazy where, like, segments of the tunnel will totally, like, you're walking and then, like, Silent Hill style, it'll just be broken off, and then it's just vast nothingness in front of you. And then when you turn around, suddenly the tunnel is a million miles long or something, and you just like, oh man, the whole time I was like on the edge of my seat. I was absolutely terrified, but so incredibly intrigued that I had to keep pressing forwards. And there's different segments where like you're walking down what seems like just like a normal length tunnel. But then all of a sudden it stretches out and then like tilts down and looks like now you're going down a slope, and then snaps back into place and like starts like closing in on you. Yeah, man, it just, I don't know. It was weird. It like, I was absolutely terrified, but it's so exhilarating, and I think that's the most hooked I was on VR for the most part. I also did the Until Dawn.
Roller coaster ride.
Yeah, the
thing.
And Here They Lie, I believe, is the game.
Oh, Here They Lie. That's the one. Holy
and is
shit.
that on the demo disc or is that on the PSN?
Demo disc.
Demo disc. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, did that. Also, I played Thumper in VR, and holy fuck, man.
Oh, that game is so good.
God, that game is awesome in VR.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
Fun. It's just fun to listen to, like everything. Mm-hmm. Once you actually start playing and get your timing right, it feels, I'm not going to say it feels as immaculate as, like Cain said, playing Rock Band, because it is simplified structure and everything like that. But you definitely get going to the groove once you're in it, and it's a lot of fun.
I'll tell you what, though, when you're going over, like, those slow rolls and then, like, the boss itself, like, rises up over the horizon, it is way more impressive when you are just this tiny bug on this rail and suddenly you're just looking up in the sky like there's a giant fucking metal head in the sky.
Yeah.
And it's shooting shit at me.
Yeah, it looks like the moon from Majora's Mask type of thing. I mean, it's just this giant tiki-looking mask type of thing. It's sweet.
It's awesome.
And the notes are coming out of its mouth. It's like it's spewing at you or like you're riding on its tongue. It's just a trippy experience.
Yep. So, yeah, man, VR was a good time, and I'm gonna definitely start. I like went through and like put on my wish list like 10 different titles that I kind of want to go through and hit from time to time just to check them out and really kind of sink my teeth into it. But so far, my experience overall has been pretty good with that. But yeah, beyond the VR stuff though, pretty much it's just been some Battlefield. Getting my ass handed to me with Cain and Cameron on occasion, and
I hear a lot of talk about pigeons whenever you guys are playing.
Yeah, Cain and I did the pigeon mode, which essentially there's a pigeon that spawns randomly on the map, and both teams have to go and find it, and once you find the pigeon, you then have to scribble out a message, an artillery run, and so while you're holding the pigeon, you're scribbling this out, but you write it much faster if you're standing still.
Oh, okay.
And periodically, like every second or so, you'll be pinged on the map of your location. So,
how long does this scribbling out the message last?
It takes probably about, if you're sitting still, it probably would take about, 20 seconds or something like that.
Oh, okay. But
if you're running around, it could take up to like 2 minutes.
Wow.
So... yeah.
So it's a grab it and then defend the guy so he can scribble out the message and
pretty much. And then the last bit of it, essentially once you've got your message written out, then you have to obviously release the pigeon. Mm-hmm. And at that point, there's a big fucking target placed on that pigeon, and every fucking gun on that entire map starts shooting at that circle.
Yep.
And you just hope that little guy makes it out okay.
It's pretty funny. It's really.
And then you're
really
just
good.
like, oh man,
it's
to
fun.
be a pigeon in World War I was probably not the greatest experience.
I was kind of getting the vibes that Cain wasn't really getting it at first, but once we started sending those messages off, man, it was good.
Has anybody played the Battlefield 1 campaign yet?
Actually, I played it to completion.
I really like the pigeon sequence in like the first 15 minutes or whatever. It's cool. That has definitely been the highlight of my very short experience with it. It's a very peaceful flying simulator over World War One. They do a good job of it.
A cacophony of death and destruction and despair.
But you're all peaceful because you're flying up above it. It's just kind of cool.
But yeah, and I guess to just kind of echo what you were saying earlier, the last podcast on like the campaign stuff, like it never really gets super deep with its mechanics. You never get really emotionally connected to any characters because by the time you really have a moment with them, campaign's over and you're moving on to the next bit. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad overall. All the different theaters were really cool. And you know, it almost serves as like an extended tutorial for the entire multiplayer because it goes over every aspect of the battlefield. But yeah, it's okay. It's a 6 out of 10 experience.
Your typical military campaign.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, as far as the campaign,
unfortunately,
yeah. Although this is the first battlefield where you're actually able to do everything completely in stealth. That's never been an option before with any Battlefield game, so that's kind of interesting. But
I'm starting to find stealth a little almost redundant or not done well enough in certain games. I felt that way about Mafia 3, despite how much I enjoyed the game. I thought its stealth
it's super strong.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. That's the problem. It's both strong and not that satisfying. Like it's not too hard to hide behind cover and whistle and wait 5 seconds.
When it comes to Mafia 3. One of the reasons why I'm playing on hard with simulation driving and everything like that. And if I wanted to use stealth like they have it implemented in the game, even then I could be done by now. But the reason why I'm not is because I am refusing to use whistling because it's so busted.
It really is.
So what I do is I watch the patrols, I find a way to get one person, and for a large part, I do non-lethal takedowns, and I will just place bodies in pathways of a line of sight, and they use that to draw people over instead of whistling. It takes longer, but it's also a lot harder, and it's a little bit more satisfying than, like Cameron said, just whistling, waiting a few seconds, and then rinse and repeat. Because you can attack people from out of cover, from over cover, and everything. It's a little bit busted, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially since the AI is not the greatest.
No, man.
Stealing a cop car right in front of the police station. Cool. We don't need it anyway. We got bunch.
It's just when games do stealth so well, I feel like it almost takes away from the other games that just kind of throw it in. Like, I'm comparing all games to Metal Gear Solid 5 and then Hitman this year, and they're both just exceptional stealth games. And with Mafia 3 and Battlefield 1, and it really does feel last generation stealth in a lot of ways.
Yeah, one of my favorite stealth experiences was still, I did a no-kill run through the original Splinter Cell, and that took forever. But it was worth it, because it was cool. Used a lot of mechanics that I ignored, like hitting people in the head with bottles to knock them unconscious, trank gun and everything like that. So.
Yeah, Dishonor was also another game with a very similar, rewarding no stealth kill. No kills, like full stealth, but...
Full stealth run.
Which is coming out, having the second one come out later next month. Which is tomorrow.
Yeah. It's November? I thought it was December. Jeez.
It's not November yet. We still got 2 hours. Oh. It will be when you listen to this podcast, mind you.
Yeah, so...
Oh, man. So speaking of 2 hours left, we only have 2 hours to talk about some of, the creepy, spooky, scary games. So, this was kind of more of Cameron's idea, so I think I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to him and... have him explain or kind of talk to us about some scary games he's been checking out.
It seemed right to me with us recording on Halloween and this podcast coming out just the day after. It's just such a good opportunity. Definitely don't have any crazy elaborate plans like Supertrope or Top 25 or anything. I really just want to kind of just talk about games that you guys like to play in the season. I've been kind of trying to find some new games. 2 I mentioned you guys before we record the podcast were kind of these echolocation based horror games. The 2 that I was thinking about are Perception, which seems like a little more of an adventure one. More or less the concept is that you are more or less seeing darkness and you have to use your microphone to essentially send out echoes, and you see what they reflect off of. And of course, the monsters that are trying to hunt you have similar abilities, and so it's all based off of sound and being quiet and something jumping out of nowhere because you're blind, but you can hear things. The other one was called Lurking, very similar, I think a simpler version of that concept. I didn't try either, so really just talking about that they seem interesting. Another one that's just silly is, I think it's called Pac-Man.exe, which is old school Pac-Man. I think this is a Flash game, so just Google it and you can play it. So. Yeah, but it's just as simple as Pac-Man, but you can only see what Pac-Man can see. So it's just dark corridors until you get to that, that turn point, and then suddenly there's a ghost right there. Yeah, it's just that simple,
dude,
and
that's cool.
And it gives it an element of horror. Beyond that, old favorites. I turned to Dead Space, especially. I'm in the middle of trying to get my Resident Evil 4 and horror-loving and sci-fi-loving girlfriend to play Dead Space, but she's oddly resistant. Nothing against Dead Space.
That's weird.
I'm just recommending something, so she's turning against it. That's what she does. And then Red Dead Undead Nightmare also is a good one, just because one of my favorite horror movies recently is Cabin in the Woods, just because it's a horror movie for horror movie fans. I feel like Undead Nightmare in a lot of ways is that for video games. I'd like to see video games do that more often, but Undead Nightmare is so great. I wish more games did Halloween spins to that level.
So since I haven't played Undead Nightmare, is it similar to Cabin in the Woods where it's kind of self-aware of what it's going on?
Yeah, and I referred to Cabin in the Woods. A better probably reference would probably be Evil Dead. It really does have that Evil Dead vibe to it. It's very like tongue-in-cheek, like, oh no, my wife just turned into a zombie. Don't drink any blood. I'll be back and fix you right up. And then Marston just takes off. You have the four horses of the apocalypse to capture in it and have as your own. You have Sasquatch. Everybody's turned into a zombie. The dialogue's fantastic because they really do take those old-fashioned characters and really put them in a silly zombie apocalypse. Not just a zombie apocalypse, but a Evil Dead style one. And I can't recommend it enough. I almost wouldn't recommend it as much as I'd recommend Red Dead. Like it's not nearly. I mean, it's a short experience, but what it does and what it tries to capture as far as horror goes, it does a great job.
It's wonderful. It is really delightful. Yeah,
being a standalone expansion also probably immensely helps and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you guys? Any scary games you like?
Man, so there is one particular. Oh, sorry, Cain. Did I take your thunder?
Well,
go.
Are you sure?
Yeah, do it. Do it. I can save it, man. I can save it.
Say all the games Cain likes. Quick, take his thunder. Diablo, Resident Evil.
Yep. Cameron already stole my first one. Diablo 1.
Yep.
Is very underrated.
I will agree.
The music in that game and the atmosphere in that game is incredible.
Especially the gothic horror elements.
Dude,
absolutely.
So
good. They lost that in so many ways.
Yep. Yeah, Diablo 2 and 3, from a vibe and environmental standpoint, man, 1 just trumps it. That's like my favorite part about 1, to be honest. So that's a great one. Just that soundtrack, I can't get away from it. The other one that I really like, actually, I played PT again just because I could.
I was thinking about it.
That game's still really scary. I can't play it by myself, really. Like, I'm kind of a chicken. It's too much. I can't deal with the constant anxiety that I might constantly die. Like, and I know what it looks like. I've seen it 100 times, but there's just something that my mind builds it up to be this huge thing, and I can't handle it. I can't do it.
Well, it's a problem because it's super unpredictable too. You totally can't you almost can't help it.
Yep. Yeah,
I was watching a stream of people play that just a few days ago, and it was just really setting in the beauty of going through that hallway over and over and over. Like, that right there to me is almost the trick and what they did with PT. Because you start to take things for granted. You start to go through the door and it's just like, okay, whatever. The clock still says, 12:59 or whatever it says. That painting's still there. And then they slightly change things. Like, this time you walk past the bathroom door and it shuts this time. Or you walk past the chandelier and you look up and sometimes she's standing there. Like,
it's very well done. Like, it's incredible.
And I always bring up Mario Maker all the time, but it inspired me immediately to try to do like a long hallway. And I haven't done this yet, but try to do a long hallway and then slightly add things very subtly in a way. It's hard to capture that with Mario Maker, but still incredible how they did that.
Yeah. So for those of you who have it on your PS4, play that. Otherwise, you're SOL. Sorry.
Did you know that you could rent out your PS4?
God,
there's people who get on forums and have people pay them $30
That is...
to just play the PT demo, like do the PlayStation Share and let them play it.
If anybody
wow,
wants
even
to
the
pay me
PlayStation
$30
Share.
to play my copy of PT, my PSN is Cainola. Just add me. Talk about it.
Yeah, he just bought Rock Band. He needs the money.
Yeah, it's true.
I think
Very true.
I think that's one of the all-time like hope you got it because it's gone things. At least of the past couple years. Like
Yeah.
I like compare that to Flappy Bird and other crap like that. Like PT is like
Yeah.
a gem.
Oh yeah, I will never delete that.
Well, that's the thing is because, I mean, you can still play a Flappy Bird-esque type game, whereas PT is kind of unique in its
Right.
own way.
Even the copycats haven't captured it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just interesting because the copycats are trying to take it and run with it. Like we thought that was just a preview trailer of Silent Hill, and it very well could have been. But obviously, unless they're going to do Silent Hill for the room, where you're just in the room and they change. What I was talking about with the hallway. So we've seen a lot of copycats try to take that, but they're trying to do it in kind of a Layers of Fear environment more than that limited environment that PT is. And I don't think it's capturing the essence. I was looking at a couple of those when I was doing my research, and yeah, it doesn't have the feel of PT. PT's kind of surreal also.
It is. It's very dreamlike.
Yeah.
Yeah, so since I didn't have a PS3 and I completely missed this boat, are you running from something, or are you trying to search for something? Like, why are you going through the hallway?
It's PS4, but
Or PS4, whatever.
Yeah, sorry.
You
Just-
could say I mean you could almost say you're running from something, because I think Cain knows the game better than I do, so I'll pass it over to him. But I know that people are constantly moving. They're wanting to make sure that they're not gonna like turn around and she's gonna get you. But
Yeah.
you should take
okay.
it, Cain. You know it better than I do.
You basically just walk through this hallway over and over again, and you have no context to why you're there. No,
Okay.
there's no NPCs, and you just discover things through environmental storytelling. You'll walk through, and the radio will be like, "Oh, there was this murderer that killed these kids in this house, or whatever." And you basically just keep going through this exact same hallway over and over, and you slowly learn more and more and more, and you get kind of more
Okay.
of a glimpse of what might have happened. And then eventually, you can get jump scared, and something can kill you. But when you die,
Alright.
you kind of just restart.
Okay. So it was kind of like people were running with the assumption that it was Silent Hill. They never actually came out.
No. The thing is that you would there's some very, very complex and very ambiguous puzzles that you would have to complete.
Oh.
And once you did that, it played the Silent Hills trailer.
Oh.
No one had any idea it was the Silent Hills game until
Okay.
the first person completed it and got that trailer.
Is this that weird thing where you had to blow on the controller and everything, or?
Yeah, you had to like plug in a mic, and you had to like
What?
it was like take 10 steps, put in your mic, talk to say a certain
Lisa.
name through the mic. Like it's totally ridiculous.
Yeah, Lisa's like stop laughing or whatever. She
Yep.
like she does like some weird like laughing thing. Say Lisa, please stop laughing, and then she stops,
Huh.
and then the phone rings. You pick
It's
it up.
it's very Kojima.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
big
was gonna
time.
say like this. Yeah.
Look at the back of the CD case to get your code. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Other than that, I want to give a special shout out to the eel from Super Mario 64
God damn
and
it.
Clanker from Banjo Kazooie. That's
Oh.
Truly terrifying. Truly terrifying.
Those scared Cain as a kid if you didn't pick that up. Now, I can kind of get the eel. The eel's a little weird. But Clanker, man, you help Clanker. He's your buddy.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you. Okay, so the eel, when when you're a 10-year-old kid and that freaking eel, man, it's got those big teeth. Oh, it's horrifying. And then Clanker, it's a similar idea, but when you don't know he's friendly. Like
Yeah.
you swim through the little tunnel, and then you just see this gigantic robotic shark like opening its mouth. You're like, oh god, it's gonna kill me. So like, when you're 12 years old, that's horrifying.
Shout out to underwater Sonic levels.
And
oh, that
suffocating.
music. Yeah, the music is scary on itself.
The most anxiety-inducing music ever.
Just like, where's that
ever
bubble?
Smith.
I'm trying to think of a video game that kind of scared me, especially as a kid. I know that Cain and I really put, especially the Butcher's Room, on a very high pedestal as young
Yep.
kids.
Oh yeah.
And Diablo 1. But beyond that, I'm having a hard time of thinking something that really got me. One part that I always loved, and it's not so much about it scared me, but I always really appreciate it, is specifically the very first level of the first Fear game. I love the very first level when you walk up the stairs and the light falls and the tiles move, and then you go around that door and he hits you with the 2x4. It just got me. And the rest of the game turns into a corridor shooter, unfortunately. But that first part, they really captured their idea. But yeah, beyond that, I don't know. I got movies that have scared me, but not really video games so much.
Yep.
So there's a particular game, and it even came out this year, that when I played through it, it really, really affected me on on a weird level, and that was Soma.
Oh, really? That's on my
Yeah.
list for sure, but I haven't played it yet.
Oh man, so Soma is without really giving away a lot of that game. Soma is an interesting game, not because you have creepy things coming after you. That kind of happens here and there in the games, but just on a psychological level, and just like a game that when you finish it makes you feel so like rotten and like so confounded, or just so conflicted on how it ends, and I don't know. It was one of those games where like I finished the game and I just took a shower and I just stood there and I thought about it for like 20 minutes, and just like it was so it messed with me.
It gotcha.
It's from what I understand, it's amnesia styled gameplay loosely meets like the concept of what it is to be human. I want to say
More like, what is consciousness?
there you go. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
That's-
So
The Mist did that for
Yeah.
me movie wise. I remember finishing The Mist and just like walking over to my bed, just lying down and looking up into the darkness. Like
I
that-
thought
that
you
one
meant
shook
the
me.
Mist PC game, like a film adaptation of that, and I was just like, oh, yeah, like those feathers that unlock the fishbowl. That really confuses me too. But yeah, no, I agree. The Mist has probably one of the best endings
Oh,
to
so good.
any movie like that. Yeah.
You can get so
Which is
much for
not how the book
$10.
ends.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
they like to do that with
I
Stephen King
think
movies.
King actually considers the movie to be the better ending.
Yeah,
between
he
the two.
I think he has said that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like definitely, yeah, seriously, that game was really, really well done. And it was just weird because like I've been watching like all the trailers and stuff like that leading up to it, and I was really, really excited. And there's definitely some shortcomings, like the monsters and enemies of that game feel largely useless and not like they're not needed to kind of tell the story or get like there's no like real drive of like having a monster chasing you down or something like that, but they're pretty sparing parts of that game, so overall it's pretty forgivable. But yeah, it just provoked a lot of thought of like, what is consciousness and why do we do things, and if we make these choices, are they justified, and how can we make a choice that is a good one? It was crazy. So definitely, I mean, in Game of the Year talks and stuff like that, that definitely I feel would be somewhere on my list because it's a cool, and probably not top 10, but somewhere in there.
I hate to jump in. I want to say Soma was last year.
No way.
I think
I
thought
it
it
was
was
gonna say, I don't
February.
know. Someone was this year.
I think Soma was last year.
Nuh-uh. Really?
I feel like I remember considering it during Game of the Year stuff last year. That's kind of where I'm aware of it. We'll check real quick.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just.
It is
talking
on
out of
sale
my
for
bubble.
$10 on Steam right now. As a side note, I'm certainly considering it after what Josh is saying. I kind of like that. If you can't tell, I'm always talking about concepts and blah 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 on the podcast, but I like it when games go a little higher. That's what you're saying about just the thought behind the game. Sounds
Oh,
really
you're
really
absolutely
interesting.
right.
Yeah,
September 20th.
2015.
Damn
Okay.
it.
Happens to all of
Well,
us, Josh.
Yeah.
See, you corrected
Video-
Tommy on
video
a
games.
year. I corrected you. Now you get to correct me. We'll do a little circle. We'll leave Cain out of it.
Video games, man.
Yeah,
They
it's
come
so
out
confusing.
fast.
Like, why do people play them?
Yeah. Although I'm glad
Play
that
Soma
we're
to figure out why.
I'm glad we're getting this all done live on the air because I hate to listen to this later.
Oh, you just reminded me. We may have to start doing a corrections part. Obviously, we don't have people writing in. By all means, feel free to make us feel bad by telling us what we screwed up on supertropetv@gmail.com. But I screwed up, and I said John Bluth instead of Don Bluth. So I feel super bad about that.
Oh,
An
man, I
animator
completely
that I
missed
really
that
love.
then.
Yeah, my girlfriend brought it up. So, yeah, I got a correction music here. No.
John Bluth, that Jonathan Blow style.
Yeah, right.
Titan AE.
Also, I
Movie.
think Cain was guessing. Mind you, Cain was guessing World War I. I don't know time periods, 1920s, 1940s.
Oh yeah.
I said 1960, 1918. That's too short. It was 1912 to 1918. So corrections
Oh,
again.
even
but
earlier.
Yeah,
Did I really say 1940s?
Yeah, it's all right, Cain. We love
Yeah,
you.
you sure did, man.
That's
You're pretty.
bad. Yeah.
It was pre-Battlefield 1, okay?
Yeah.
You didn't have those dates drilled into your head. But anyways, cool. Yeah. Other than that, I don't think there's really any other like creepy games or anything like that.
No,
I
mean,
I guess Until Dawn was cool. It's really
That-
only good.
it's
yeah,
cool
that's a
to
good
play
one from
through a
last year.
slasher movie.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
might also, with that said, and if it's dropped down to $20 or so, then go for it. But it may also be
Yeah.
a rental more than it is a purchase. I love that game, but I feel that way still a year later.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's also, it feels like it's one of those games that you can really enjoy after you've seen a few Friday the 13th, a few Halloweens, a few Nightmare on Elm Streets, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you guys pretty much covered the ones that I kind of go back to or think going back to this time of year: Dead Space, Diablo. I am a person who prefers Diablo 1 over Diablo 2 specifically because of the aesthetic that Cain was talking about. It's just, it's very compact, and you don't explore multiple regions or anything like that, but it's just, I like the gothic look so much and everything like that. And then beyond that, one thing that I knew existed because I played it a little bit before, but someone actually went back and remastered Simon's Quest. And by remastered, they just didn't make it look better. They actually made it playable this
good.
time.
It is.
Because that is a game where you will need to do something to access a later part of the game. For people who haven't played it, it's not so much level based as it is kind of open world in a 2D sense. You have towns, and then you have areas with monsters.
Think
And
kind
then
of
you
like
have-
Zelda 2, almost, without the
Yeah,
world map.
and then you have the castles of Dracula, which are similar to the temples in Zelda 2 and everything like that. And then you have a day-night structure where monsters are weaker in the day and they're stronger at night and everything like that. And then when you go into town during the day, shops, townsfolk, at night, ghouls, zombies, that sort of thing. But there's a part where you need to do, and this happens more than once, but you need to do a particular thing to get to find a hidden doorway or break down a wall. And then that will lead you to this town where, if it's during the day, you will meet a helpful townsfolk who tells you how to do the secret thing that you did in order to get to the town. Because he's just so thoughtful. And he was like, in case you forget how you got here, I'm just here to remind you how to do it. And so what this person did was they were like, I think it would make more sense if you got the hint before you actually needed to do it. So I'm going to put that here. So you can act like, it was a game that my brother and I had when we were kids, and we didn't have a lot of games that we owned. So we beat it, but we beat it out of like desperation. There was no game facts back then. We weren't going to spend
gosh.
$1.99 to call the Nintendo hotline or anything like that. So we pretty much,
But
it
you
was,
were tempted.
yeah, it was massive trial and error. And so that game is one. And by looking for this again, I found out there was actually a lot of fan-made Castlevania games. Some made in RPG Maker. Don't know how that works out. Or some sort of maker type of software. And then some of them are just purely in development. Some are going classic Castlevania. Some are going Metroidvania, Symphony of the Night style, and everything like that. One of them I downloaded, haven't checked out yet, but seemed to be a pretty solid voted remake and everything. So I might check that out at Extra Life or something like that, since it's weird, but Extra Life is the week of Halloween this year, just with how dates fell. So beyond getting scared in games, not really something that happens, but I'm definitely someone who prefers like the VR game that Josh was describing, atmospheric stuff. Even if it doesn't freak me out, I just enjoy that type of thing, because an unsettling feeling is always going to be more spooky and scary to me than jump scare. You know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Play Dino Crisis, Velociraptor out of nowhere, and you're not scared because it's scary. You're scared because this is going to eat up all my ammo just to kill the thing, so I'm just going to run.
Yeah, maybe not so much in this in the creepy or spooky category, but just pure badassness, killing demons, man. Doom.
I was thinking about that. Yeah.
Oh,
I just did that recently, so I didn't have to do it so much.
It's tough. Like you can, I think about this in a lot of ways with maybe if we're doing like themed Magic the Gathering tournaments around Halloween stuff, or just Halloween in general. Do you allow like Lovecraftian horror to sneak in there? Do you allow like angels versus demons type stuff to sneak into what you consider?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As far as like the
I think Doom's awesome as a Halloween game for sure, just because of like Josh said, exactly, not super scary, but badass feeling, and blood and gore is obviously Halloween.
That's demons, man.
Yeah.
But demons
Halloween.
aren't Halloween,
just-
are they? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, just think about it. Imagine if Doom
I guess that's
guy
who the
is
witches
Tom
are talking
Hanks,
to.
and you're just going around, killing demons, like, the Da Vinci Code and angels and demons. And all that stuff.
Tom Hanks could be anything, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so he could totally be Doom guy.
Another game I thought would be interesting or fun to play, I suppose, on a Halloween would be Devil Daggers.
Ah, yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't checked that out yet.
That one's
man.
cool.
I put a lot
I
of
haven't-
time into that game.
I haven't put any time into it, but yeah, I want to.
That's a really cool game.
But-
Stylized.
Very much so, dripping with the
Mhm.
atmosphere.
Yeah, that one's the one that's all first person view,
Mhm.
isn't it?
Yeah, and didn't they also add a mode or like when you die, it shows you top down view of your entire match now?
Oh, maybe.
Ooh,
I'm
wow.
not sure. I haven't
That
I haven't
sounds
played
awesome.
that game in a while.
That would be an interesting look.
Yeah, I watched some gifs of people who like had a really awesome run, and just the sheer amount of shit that's flying at them is insane. Like I have no idea how they even got
That's
through
awesome.
all of it.
Yeah, because top down, you can see technically 360 degrees around your character.
Mm-hmm.
First person, you have your field of view, and that's it.
Yeah, and I mean this is all post game. Like once it's all
Right.
finished, then you get the replay.
Mhm.
So yeah,
But yeah, that's what I'm saying is that Devil Daggers is kind of, since it limits your vision, would be
boy.
a little bit more
I
frantic.
just realized maybe it's a mod. I don't know, guys. Please don't kill. Please don't
Corrections,
hate me.
corrections
I don't know.
already.
Devil's Daggers community. r/Devil Daggers. They're offended.
Yeah.
They are very much offended. I'm sorry.
Alien Isolation might be a good one too.
Oh yeah, I thought about it. I love that game. It is also gives man the anxiety is almost too much at times.
Run to the save point simulator.
Oh
Ooh.
man,
That
Boy.
makes it sound less
is that
exciting.
how you feel about that game? Huh? Is that right?
It's too
Yeah.
new to be on this top 100 list, or else they're gonna have to wait like 7 years for this debate.
Well, I'll see you in 7 years.
There you go.
Oh man. But
Oh,
With that-
I know what I
oh.
should do. I just thought of this. I didn't know. Cain, you said the Dolphin emulator is GameCube and Wii games, right?
Yes.
I have a copy of it. I should totally do Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem.
That's a
That's
good
an
one.
amazing game.
Yes,
Yeah.
and also just throw it out there while we're thinking of GameCube games. Luigi's Mansion, super awesome
Yeah.
game as well.
Never
Legit
played
game.
it, but
Oh, it's
super
so
solid
good.
from what I hear. Yeah.
But yeah, no, especially Eternal Darkness. Why
God,
don't we get
yeah,
more
if-
games like that?
Yeah, if you haven't
give us
played
more
it,
games like that. It's
Find
so
a GameCube.
cool.
Yep. Don't power off your system. Like that's
Right.
you will be sorry. Just go with it.
Man.
Well, it's so funny too because like I remember that game. Like one of the things I remember it doing at Cain's was we all had these big glass front CRT TVs. And
Yeah.
you turn the volume up and down on these things. It was this terrible green shade, and it was very basic volume up and down.
Yep.
Eternal Darkness would use that same overlay and make you think your volume was getting messed up, and they'd quiet the volume in the game.
Yep.
That I don't feel like that would hold up to newer gamers. Like, what's this
Yeah.
green volume thing?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. That's
But still,
true.
it's a super awesome game.
Yeah.
They'd have to change it and modernize it to be like your TV will restart in 10 seconds for a firmware update.
Yeah, or something.
Oh, the horror!
man.
The horror!
Oh.
That would mess with people. I'm sure no one's seen that message before.
Yeah. They could be playing on an old CRT and just be like, "Oh shit, my firmware." But I mean, you can do still some of the stuff that it did. Still does hold up to the day. Like just having so many enemies in the room, and you're just like, "How am I supposed to walk through this? I can't. I'm gonna die." Like, and then one enemy turns out to be real, and then the rest are just fake.
Yep. A really awesome game.
Mhm.
So, man, I'm feeling the spirit of Halloween just course through me. All these favorite games. Perfect.
Thank you.
And with that, it's time to start the next set of our top 100.
I guess I should probably pull the Excel sheet up, huh?
Get ready.
Yep.
Let's do it.
All right. So
And-
we are moving on to our next 25 segment. You guys who are following along should know that we had some slight changes. Just I won't go into that too long. Our honorable mentions will slightly change. When we post the final list, we'll have our solid 10 honorable mentions, and we actually had 3 extra spaces through me miscounting mostly. So Fable 2, Condemned, and Zack and Wiki squeak in at the bottom of the 25 you got last time. So that will actually bump Donkey Kong Country Returns, Mirror's Edge, and Viva Pinata up into this new category. So we get to talk about those awesome games again, which I'm actually okay with. So, real quick, I'll list off the games just in the blob order that we have. This is by no means top to bottom or anything like that. Catherine, Killzone 2, Saints Row the Third, Battlefield Bad Company 2, Vanquish, Forza's Motorsport 4, Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, Borderlands 2, Bioshock Infinite, DMC Devil May Cry, the reboot, Rainbow Six Vegas 2, Spec Ops The Line, Dragon's Crown, Mortal Kombat, Resistance 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Fate of the Two Worlds, L.A. Noire, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, New Super Mario Bros., Wii, Donkey Kong Country Returns, Mirror's Edge, Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise, and Metro 2033. So I think how we kind of started off last time, and I think a way that works best, this time we don't need to choose which stays on the list and which cut. These will all be making the list and up on the list a decent chunk. So they're all rock solid games and they're here to stay. I think what we should do is nominate ones that we really do feel border in that, 50 to 51, the top of this blob, essentially. What's the cream of the crop? And I think we should just go through it in order like we did last time. Each person just nominate a game and say why you think it deserves to be higher, and we'll kind of go from there.
Cool. I nominate Cain goes first since he was last time.
Okay. Well, out of all the games on this list, I'm going to be honest. A lot of them don't really speak to me that much. Some of them are all right. They're good. But if there's one on here, well, okay, there's probably 3. But the one on here that I really want to make a case for is Donkey Kong Country Returns.
Mm-hmm.
That game has some of the coolest 2D platforming ideas I've ever seen. The worlds are all very unique, and there's a reason for everything happening. It's a pretty basic story, but the gameplay feels really tight. It's a great co-op game. It's got lots to do, lots of collectibles. It's charming as hell. Like Donkey Kong's voices and just like all that stuff. There's one level in particular that speaks that like, well, okay, there's 2. The first one is the barrel levels. Have any of you guys played this where like you're in the barrel?
Yeah.
So basically you're in this like rocket barrel on an auto-scrolling level, and you just kind of like do this, and you have to like tap the jump button to like accelerate your little rocket ship barrel. And there's just tons of stuff coming at you, and the gravity of the barrel is so awkward because you go up really fast, but then you descend very slow. So you have to really prepare yourself and just kind of use a lot of foresight as these things coming at you. And there's like sharks jumping at you and like all these crazy monkey shit, whatever. But it's great. I can't say enough good things about that game. I 100% of that game.
Hearing Cain describe the barrel level just makes me realize that guy who made Flappy Bird, that is not an original game.
No, it is not.
Yeah, right?
It's very similar to that, actually. It's almost identical. I should have just said Flappy
I'm
Bird.
not confusing Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze with Returns. They both do the sweet silhouette levels too, right?
Yep,
with the art style.
That was the other one I was going to bring up was, those silhouette levels. And also, the soundtrack is incredible. They brought back David Wise. Oh, no. David Wise is not in this one. I'm sorry. That's in the new one. But regardless, Returns has a great soundtrack. It's totally pays homage to like the Super Nintendo Donkey Kong games. It brings back that nostalgia. It's all orchestrated. Very good.
Yep. It does them honor, actually. We get a lot of old people asking for Donkey Kong Country or whatever happens to Donkey Kong Country. And this is one of the few like fond franchises that I can point back and say, there's 2 new ones for you to play. Like they're legit.
Yep. And it's a great co-op game because, like, remember that barrel level I was just talking about? Either of you can control the barrel.
Oh, man, that doesn't sound good.
That doesn't sound like great co-op at all.
Yeah.
Sounds like New Super Mario Bros. Wii to me.
Yeah, sibling rivalry is not going to sabotage that whatsoever.
So what's the next order? I don't know where Cain's by himself.
Yeah, someone can pipe up, or I can choose for you.
Oh man, I think I'll pipe up, even though I don't think I have one off the top of my head. I'm gonna go ahead and say that Mortal Kombat deserves to be in the higher part of this
I agree.
area.
I would
totally
agree.
agree.
With that. Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
Mortal Kombat, it's kind of perfect. We're following Donkey Kong Country Returns with Mortal Kombat. They did the series justice, plain and simple. They not only rebooted Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 in a sense as far as storyline goes, they did honor to those characters and to that fandom while also modernizing the game. I think you can make the argument that Mortal Kombat's the most successful fighting game behind Street Fighter, at least of the past 5 or 10 years. So
It might
yeah,
actually
awesome game.
Just because Mortal Kombat has more casual, broad appeal than Street Fighter, it may have been financially more successful.
Yep.
But yeah,
I could totally see that.
It definitely MK9. It didn't just like revitalize the series. It needed to, because the games prior to that, it was just kind of like lingering. Since Third Strike didn't maintain the popularity of fighting games, Mortal Kombat was kind of, not really holding the banner or anything like that. And to have both 4 and a new Mortal Kombat come out and really help revitalize it, gave it the shot in the arm of the fighting.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that Mortal Kombat 9 has the best single player campaign of any fighting game.
NRS games always do. Like
Right.
I will completely.
Nothing I can
back
think
that
of
statement.
I think so.
nothing I can think of. It's the seamless transition from cinematics to the fight was so beautifully done.
They actually bothered to put a single player campaign.
Well, what about
in
those DOA payoffs, man?
Oh yeah, sure.
Well, in DOA 3, you do get to see Christy in the shower.
Oh,
Ooh,
So it's
awesome.
worth it. It's worth suffering through those 6 matches.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess I'll go next. I am that crazy person that would actually rank Vanquish higher than Bayonetta. So I am obviously going to put Vanquish at the top of the list and everything like that. It's just one of those things where we have 3 really solid character action games on the list. Bayonetta, Vanquish, and DMC. Despite the cosmetic difference that Dante went through, still a solid game and everything like that. And the only reason why I would really put Vanquish at the top of that short list is because all 3 games have cheesy storylines. There's just no getting around it. But Vanquish is the one that just kind of relishes in the cheesy storyline. It knows it's an 80s action movie, and it plays to itself so well.
It pulls it off the best.
You are the all-star quarterback in a robot suit that is hitting inappropriately on your female coworkers right before you drop a one-liner and light up a smoke in the cutscene. And on top of all of that, I mean, it's got the solid gameplay as well. It's nice that the game is self-aware of what it's doing. So definitely at the top of.
Vanquish and Asura's Wrath were possibly the 2 most knew what they were and stylish games of the entire generation. Like, they just embraced everything about their concepts. We used to show Vanquish to people in the store, and it's 3 seconds of gameplay is all you need to see. Just the rocket sliding of the knees, and that's it.
Yeah. Rocket power sliding, like flipped over backwards, shooting your rifle in slow motion.
At a giant enemy, and they're just like, "Oh man, this is a sweet boss fight," and you're just like, "You haven't gotten to the boss fight yet," and they're just like,
I feel like if you went back in time and showed kids what video games are today, a lot of games would make them go, "What?" Vanquish is not one of them. That's exactly what the kids in the 80s thought video games would be like.
Yeah, as a kid in the 80s, that's exactly what I wanted, and that's what I got. And Asura's Wrath, since you brought it up, it's a shame that they cut off the end of that game.
Yeah, it's shortcomings. Leave it off this list, but it's still worth a playthrough, I think, for most people.
I mean, if you're fine with super silly, if you're fine with a game that does not take itself seriously, at least, check it out as a rental or borrow it from a friend or something like that.
So I have a couple questions about this game, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So looking back on it, can you think of any game that was inspired by it, that you play it and you go, "Oh, Vanquish definitely inspired this game"?
That's the thing.
Would you want a sequel?
I have been wanting a sequel ever since I played it, because nothing I have seen come out since then has really matched up to it. And not just gameplay wise, but I mean, as far as, like I said, just knowing what type of game it was. I want a game that isn't afraid to shy away from being a little bit hokey, because now we're in the generation of video games where we want our serious storylines. In a sea of Last of Us, Metal Gear Solid 4, BioShock and everything like that, and where people, Assassin's Creed, LA Noire, where people are doing these serious, dramatic themed storylines, it was a nice breath of fresh air to at least get something different. As far as a sequel to this game, I would actually consider this one a spiritual successor to an old PS2 game, which I unfortunately never got a chance to play, also made by Platinum, which is called God Hand.
Oh, and yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like it is. If you enjoyed God Hand, you will enjoy Vanquish, because Vanquish doesn't have you knee attacking an enemy to the moon, in the very Dragon Ball Z-esque sense that is. But it's just cheesy, hokey fun and everything like that. But I've been wanting a sequel ever since they made Vanquish, and I'm hoping that Scalebound gives me some of that feeling. I don't think it will. Scalebound feels like it's going to be a halfway split between Vanquish, Bayonetta, and Phantasy Star Online. Since it's going to be 4 players, you're probably going to go through the same areas repeatedly. But I would love a Vanquish 2. They leave it open.
A particular game on the same platform that had kind of the spirit, I would say.
There is Anarchy Reigns.
I'm thinking more specifically Binary Domain.
Yes.
That game has like the really goofy, like
more of a third-person shooter.
Yeah, third-person shooter.
But definitely, yeah, it has that same type of protagonist and everything like that. And it's got this weird relationship mechanic where you can be a jerk to your teammates and they will not react to your orders as quick, or if you foster friendship with them, they'll be more inclined to help you out in battle. But yeah, it's cool. It's just kind of a rarity. For that game.
I was just curious because I haven't really, you don't hear, you hear people talk about it kind of like you are, but you don't really see a spiritual successor right out of the gate.
No.
So
and
I'm just curious if the impact is really, if it's just kind of like a cult game or if it really is like
substantial. Oh, it is definitely a cult game.
Yeah, that one for sure. There, Tommy and I, and not to get off too much on tangent here, as we are slowly careening off the cliff, but
careen.
Right, I was gonna say, Tommy and I actually talk all the time about awesome mechanics in this generation of games. One of them's debatably the new generation, but things like active reload in Gears of War, or Shadows of Mordor, Middle Earth, the Nemesis engine, and especially active reload. That game's 10 years old. Middle Earth is only maybe 2. We're shocked how these mechanics in some ways are why we love these games, and yet people don't copy them. It's some awesome mechanics just get left in the dust. And I think Vanquish, I think you could argue at least Vanquish's mobility might be the simplest way I would put it.
That is a huge factor.
Like, maybe not the whole game. I mean, that changes how you have to design a game. You don't want Gears of War to just rocket all over the place. You have to make bigger arenas and stuff like that. But what about like a level where you equip something like Vanquish? Like, it is shocking that they don't embrace these awesome mechanics, and I worry that they're going to get forgotten.
Yeah, or why more shooters don't do active reload.
That blows my mind.
That's like my favorite part about Gears of War was the active reload.
It's weird.
Yeah, but yeah, anyway, so Vanquish is my pick for first choice.
All right.
Or my first pick.
Despite all this time talking about Vanquish and other things, I'm struggling to actually lock down a first-round pick for myself. And it's not mainly so much that there isn't any good games in this segment. It's more of the games that are here on this list. The ones I feel need to be towards the top are mostly games I haven't played. I don't know if that is that speaks to my gaming taste, but but ones I'm seeing, I'm like Catherine. I feel like maybe not so much, but like the puzzling in the game was pretty good, and also that they released a game that I guess they released a game in like the US and Europe that is very much like, it was a very risky title that you wouldn't see AAA support for.
I'll be honest, I'm surprised we got it.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and also I mean maybe just locally people really seem to dig it, but it feels like one of the more successfle pure examples of kind of Japanese games, because it did well. I mean, we sold copies for a long time. People were talking about it, that's for sure. It was one of the most talked about games in 2011. And
it's essentially a visual novel with some playable segments.
It's undeniably unique, but we'll save that for whenever someone nominates it.
Very true.
Josh is cheating.
But now. So I mean, there was that. But also, I kind of feel like maybe Assassin's Creed 4 definitely deserves some shine. Viva Pinata. I wish I would have played more of that game, but man, I don't know. It's one of those things where you just either ran out of time or bounced off too early, something like that. But
You should move up Viva Pinata.
I have a feeling it's going to get moved up.
Josh needs to quit taking all the
just
good
natural.
ones and pick one.
Well, I'm trying to talk through it. Maybe I can reach something here.
Listen to your heart, Josh. You know it's telling you
calling
something
for
like
you.
Spec Ops or
Viva
Rainbow Six Vegas
Pinata.
2,
Viva
Oh,
Pinata.
yeah, you're profiling.
Resistance 2, Killzone 2. A lot of 2s.
Yeah, Spec Ops had a really interesting story, but I don't think it's this top end. Sorry, I'm not going to waste any more time. Regis Philbin, my final answer is Viva. I'm going to go Viva.
Oh, make Cain work for
I'm cool
it.
with that.
I was just gonna pick it next.
It is funny how Donkey Kong and Viva originally were in our low tier, and here they are up in our orange tier, and before next week, Cain especially gets Donkey Kong Country Returns in the yellow tier.
Slowly, it's working its way up to top game of the generation.
I'm going to pick. It is my turn, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Mirror's Edge. I don't particularly have any strong feelings about it, but I like what it's there. It was doing creative things. It had a female lead character, which was cool.
Which
Yeah.
needs to happen more often. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
And we haven't exactly come leaps and bounds, but that was 2008.
There's cool stuff to like about that game. And I think it should be higher up.
I will say that when I would start playing that game and I would have some friends who had a fear of heights, they would just watch me play that opening segment where you're doing the wall dive or the wall jump off the skyscraper onto the crane. And then I would look down during the segment. They're just like, nope. All right,
Yeah.
cool. Get a hold of me when you're not playing this anymore, because screw this game.
I am going to pick Assassin's Creed for Black Flag. I think one of the biggest flaws in that game was that it was Assassin's Creed. And not even to like shit on Assassin's Creed, it's almost more the fact that they should have started a whole new franchise and milked the hell out of it. Because it's good. It's really awesome. Pirate combat, especially in a third-person perspective, other than Sid Meier's Pirates, has never been done so well. It captures the essence of pirates, captures the essence of naval combat tremendously, give you a big world to explore, almost in a sense of like a Wind Waker or even a Final Fantasy IX. Like it did really good things, and it actually, in my opinion, saved the series from becoming extremely dull. Like it's the blip on the radar that saved it from Assassin's Creed 3 and all that. So
Saved it, but almost also sent it to its doom, because they've never been able to capture it since.
that's exactly why I think maybe they should have done a whole new franchise. But I guess they kept it going. We have at least 3, 4, 5 Assassin's Creed games since Assassin's Creed 4. But they could have easily cranked out 3 or 4 Black Flag games. Regardless, awesome game. Definitely,
For sure.
if you don't like Assassin's Creed, give Black Flag a shot. Still, it's good enough that you'll like it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Good pick.
Let's see here. For my next pick, probably the superior of the two versions. The only reason why I didn't play it was because I played a ton of the original Borderlands. And so it just came time. I kind of missed the boat on Borderlands 2, but that's going to be...
That part
that's
comes
gonna
later,
be my
Cain.
next pick. I mainly... a lot of these games on this section between Borderlands, Spec Ops, and Kingdoms of Amalur, those are really the only ones that I played. And so there's just not a whole lot of couch co-op representation this generation, unfortunately. So I'm not saying it has to be. Yeah, I'm not saying it belongs, in the low 50s or anything like that, but probably I have a feeling with our discussions it'll work its way out to somewhere in the middle, which is probably where I would put it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting from the hip, I like Borderlands as a franchise as much as I like Mirror's Edge, if not maybe more. So that it feels totally right to nominate it now.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that's kind of what I was going off of.
Okay.
It feels like it's kind of in the right spot, honestly. I just have a very low tolerance for what that game is.
Which is shocking as hell.
Because it's
From
Shooter
guy-
Diablo.
It's just Shooter Diablo. It's an endless loot grind.
It's not necessarily like the gameplay or anything like that. It's just like the constant like internet meme like humor. It's just
Oh,
Yeah.
I
like
can't.
Yeah.
like,
Gearbox is jerking off in your face all day
like
long.
like the writing and like I just feel like it was written by like 15-year-old kids.
Oh yeah, I am definitely
You know?
not nominating the game because of the
Oh,
writing.
and
I
it
just
sells
wanna
like
say-
hotcakes thanks to those 15-year-olds. So, like, all the people I know who love Borderlands fit that bill exactly.
Well, I mean, it's
I'm
cool
always
for them
hesitant
'cause
on
they're
Borderlands
15.
a bit because Josh and I had a killer experience with Borderlands 1, especially. We just ran through it co-op. And you always wonder, how many people bought Borderlands and played it and tried to play it single player and maybe didn't have that experience. So it's one of those tricky games, but I had a great time with it.
Yeah.
Although I had a good
I
time with
also-
Dead Island, which a lot of people hate
Yeah.
nowadays.
I also enjoyed having the kind of the talent tree, the
Mm-hmm.
skills and everything like that. So that was nice.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, it comes around to me, and I feel like in the first round of voting, I had my conscience cleared. So now I can start picking the games that I've played and enjoyed, and that is going to be Spec Ops: The Line. It doesn't really revolutionize third-person shooter by any means or any of that, but overall the story of that game is the reason why you'd play it. It does not paint a pretty picture for war, and it comes from a period where pretty much every game that came out, every military shooter just glorifies the hell out of we're shooting, we're going over here, we're shooting up the terrorists, and we're gonna stop this bomb, and we're gonna save the day.
We're the
And-
good guys killing the bad guys.
Exactly. And Spec Ops: The Line was kind of the first military shooter. I mean, I guess for the console generation, the first one I played, and probably the best example of, it telling a really deep story of like, hey, you may think you're doing the right thing, but you're also inflicting a lot of pain and doing a lot of fucked up shit,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe you're not, like, your actions are not as just as you think they are. So
Yep.
Yeah, really, really does a great job with that.
Couldn't agree more on that. And I think it's also important. It may not be the first, for all we know, there was a PS1 war game or PS2 war game or Super Nintendo.
Certainly.
It may
Yeah.
not be the first that did that, but that's neither here nor there to me because it was kind of the first important one to do that in the generation that was dominated by Modern Warfare shooters. Like, it did
Yeah.
it when it mattered, even if it wasn't first.
Exactly. Their
Yep.
timing was great. And Nolan North
Yeah,
can't go
and
wrong.
we
Yeah.
really do romanticize war in video
Well,
games.
I mean, yeah, it was based off of the Heart of Darkness, so I'm biased towards the story already. Anyways,
Yep. So that's my hot take on some Spec Ops. Who's next?
Is it me or is
Is
it
that
Cain?
me? I think it's me.
it's
Okay.
Cain.
Oh,
What are you thinking there, Cain?
I'm thinking that I really like New Super Mario Bros. Wii a lot, but I don't know if I like it that much.
Hmm.
And I like Dragon's Crown, but I don't know if I like it that much.
Yeah, right? Dragon's Crown is solid, but it's not that solid.
I feel like it should be Ni no Kuni.
Oh, wow.
I think you should move Ni no Kuni up.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's a good game. Can you guys see me when I changed the list? I was like hinting.
Yeah,
while
yes,
talked.
I saw the bold. I saw the bold.
I saw
totally-
your cursor on Vanquish before I even mentioned it.
Sorry.
Um,
I'll try not to sway things, but I kind of know you guys pretty well with this stuff.
Yeah, no, you knew which one I was going to nominate first.
Ni no Kuni is definitely deserving.
Mhm.
It's a great JRPG that calls to my old, younger self that wanted every bit of those games I could eat. Like, sir, just give me all the JRPGs. I want to eat all of them. Just serve them to me on a platter.
Man, plus
Especially
also
those kind.
Studio Ghibli's artistic design is wonderful.
I was so
Oh, it's
happy
so
to
good.
know that got a sequel. I'm sure it did really well overseas, but I always kind of wondered how well it did over here.
Yep.
And level
Mhm.
5. Love level 5.
Dude, level 5, time and time again. Oh, they've proven themselves.
Yeah, level 5 is legit.
I will be fully okay with it getting bumped down, but I am going to go ahead and vote with my heart, and I'm actually going to put Kingdoms of Amalur up there for now.
That's
Nice.
strong.
I really
I
like
think
that
that's
game.
pretty strong.
I think it's the most
Very good.
underrated third-person fantasy game. You can maybe argue Dragon's Dogma. Those two, though. I wish Kingdoms of Amalur would have been successful enough to get that MMO, because that was one of the big reasons why I love the world, or why I love the game was the world. The combat was brilliant. It feels like what Fable 3 probably should have been.
Oh, you
Yeah.
just stole the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
It was what I wanted Fable to be all along.
It's
Yep.
so good.
Mhm.
I love it.
But
It's hard to
it's-
find now, but awesome game.
Yeah, the combat in that game is also nice enough that if someone doesn't like kind of the stiffness of the Elder Scrolls combat,
Mm.
they'll probably enjoy Kingdoms of Amalur. It flows much better.
Yeah.
Plus,
does.
what other fantasy-based game are you going to find fucking chakras in, huh?
Yeah, like when I found my first set, that was my exclusive weapon because I never I've never played another game where I got to use discus as a weapon.
And they look so cool.
No,
Yeah.
Daikatana has discus weapon, but that we won't speak.
So
of
does
that
Symphony
game.
of the Night.
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
What weapon does Symphony of the Night
that's
have?
Yeah.
If you
there we
watched a certain YouTube video, you'd know.
It's true.
go. Apparently, I need to watch more YouTube.
You
Need to watch more of the
Cain.
YouTubes.
I think Kingdoms is strong. Very strong pick.
Well, shoot. Because now I haven't played any of these games.
I mean, I guess we can just. I mean, it's not like we just have to pick one. We can just fire from the hip and say like, I think Dragon's Crown is better than Forza Motorsport 4.
Boy, really? I'm
Yeah.
surprised by that. Just like we already put Horizon in our lower part. Like, this is as good as Forza Motorsport 4 gets, or Forza as a series in this generation. I just as much as I know you guys love Forza, I was expecting that to be much higher, especially over Dragon's Crown, which I love as a brawler. You guys know that I love Dragon's Crown, but I'm just like, in retrospect, I've been thinking about. To me, it's not a better brawler than, and this isn't fair to compare because it's not on this list because it can't be, but Scott Pilgrim is not a better brawler to me than a handful of other titles. I like Dragon's Crown. I'm just surprised by that. I'm not against it, but I'm surprised by that a little bit. I just guess I didn't realize how much you like Dragon's Crown.
I do. It's unique. It's one of the only games of that genre this gen. It
Yeah,
plays well.
especially on
it's
disc.
couch co-op. It has an amazing art style. There's a lot to like about Dragon's Crown.
I think when we get the list going and I'm comparing it to stuff above it and below it, that's where I might start to argue against it, but I'm totally fine right
Sorry,
now.
Tommy, I didn't mean to steal your thunder there.
No, like, I am actually completely fine deferring to all you guys for the rest of it, because I would nominate Catherine just because I find it interesting, but I've never played it.
I think that's a good nominee, honestly.
You know, I can't compare any of these games anymore because I haven't played them. So I have no idea where they belong.
There's kind of an undeniable amount of shooters coming up here, so in a lot of ways I'm going to delegate to Josh and Cain.
Yeah.
But with that said,
that might be a commentary of the generation and just, you know, where shooters fell.
Yeah.
Like, you know, kind of on the spectrum of great games.
I kind of want L.A. Noire to be on this list with like Catherine and Dragon's Crown. I like L.A. Noire a lot.
Yeah, really, despite the amount of people who shed all of that game because you couldn't go find some hookers and run them over, you know, and bang their dead corpses.
You mean like Stan Marsh because it's just a game where you press X all the time? That's the only thing I know about L.A. Noire is when South Park was making fun of the people who were complaining about it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Stan basically becomes a little shitheel and then just starts complaining about L.A. Noire, not because Matt and Trey disliked the game, because they were kind of making fun of the people who were making fun
and people
of
are
it.
like that. I mean, it's
Yeah,
we get that
yeah.
with Walking Dead, we get that with Wolf Among Us, all Telltale games. Yeah,
Yep.
and it's just not for everyone, that's for sure. But if it
Yeah.
is if you are into those kind of games, especially I'm a big fan of when video games capture a moment in history and they nail the 20s. They do such a great job of that world.
No, it's the 40s because he just
Is
got
it
back
40s?
from World War II.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
Regardless,
maybe
they
even the
nail
50s
it.
at that
You
point.
could even drive,
Yeah.
and this is just a silly gimmick, but you could even drive around or play the entire game in black and white just to go with the,
Yeah, the film
noir.
noir green.
Yeah, exactly. So I really like L.A. Noire. It certainly has some flaws, of being able to examine every stupid item, regardless of its importance, even beyond like red herrings to the point where they're like trolling you. There's weird stuff in the game, but it's still an awesome game.
And it's set during World War One.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
because
right.
World War I took place during the 1940s.
Thank you, Cain. Oh.
Oh, we're doing so good with dates.
Yeah.
Mm.
Cain just had to trick or treat on Josh or something like that, I guess. It's just...
I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna stop saying things so definitively. I'm gonna be second guessing everything I do from here on out.
That's what it's
Also,
called recording.
Yep, I've also internally banned the word "yeah." I haven't said "yeah." Hopefully, hopefully that's. The
Oh
second
no!
time I've
Don't
said
say
it.
that. Don't say that. That you're setting yourself up for disappointment. We're gonna get like 15 minutes in. You just said yeah without even thinking about it. And
It's
you're
gonna be the
I'm
opening-
saying things definitively again. Oh,
It's gonna be the opening statement is just Cameron looping Josh saying yeah.
Oh, you should like. That would be the most tedious work. But every time I said "yeah," there's just a ding,
ding.
just ding.
It's a
little-
counter.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, don't do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Um,
So whose pick is it?
Well, we're kind of going out of
you-
order.
Cameron just,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, for the most part.
Cain
Yeah.
threw us off. We're nice and
I did.
organized, and Cain wanted chaos. So here we are.
I did.
He's an agent of chaos.
I voted anarchy in the Twitch chat.
God damn it.
Anybody get that
Um,
reference?
Nope.
Twitch plays Pokemon.
That's right. Okay.
Oh god,
I thought it was
know
Goldfish
is, like,
plays Pokemon.
Helix Fossil or Bust or something like that. I don't know.
Okay, so of these shooters, I think we should think about that. Or maybe we should think about what deserved to be at the bottom. Honestly, I think Metro 2033 snuck up here. I don't think it should have been. I think it deserves to be in the red category, personally.
I do too.
Now, it's unfortunate. Cody, I think, is one of the bigger defenders of Metro 2033, so I don't think we should bump it down too much, but I think it...
Snooze, you lose.
That's true. I think
no. That's okay.
It's a lesser game than Valkyria, than
I've got
Lego.
some fight for Metro, for sure.
So I think we're gonna actually bump it out, and I don't think we should mess with the other ones too much because we already ordered them. So we should just bump it down to.
I would bump it right above Darksiders.
I'm fine with that. What about you guys?
Let's see here.
Puts it below Dragon Age Origins, which I totally agree
Metro
with.
23
Puts it above
right above
Black Ops and stuff.
Darksiders. Where the fuck's Darksiders?
It's number
Oh,
79.
79.
Fair.
Yeah, I haven't played it, so I'll defer judgment.
It's a good game, and especially does its atmosphere and apocalypse setting very, very well. But
Here's the other thing though too. Well, yeah, no, that's fine. I was just gonna say that I almost would put Battlefield Bad Company 2 below Metro, but
really,
Wow.
and that. The problem is that I'm not looking at it from a multiplayer standpoint because I actually didn't play the game multiplayer, and that's actually where that game absolutely shines. So Battlefield definitely does deserve a higher rank on that list, but yeah, just overall, like Battlefield Bad Company 2 just had such a different tone than the previous one, which I love the original Bad Company because it was so incredibly lighthearted. It was almost like another like Spec Ops moment where it's like all the other, like modern shooters were all just so fucking serious business that like Bad Company when it came out was just a nice breath of fresh air. Like it was all goofy and like stupid shit happened in there and people made it out just by the skin of their teeth, but they did it with a joke. I don't know. But
I just read a NeoGAF thread about how people were wishing like that Battlefield 1 felt more like Bad Company 2.
I think they were
like, the feel of Bad Company 2.
I think they were too afraid. Like as soon as they announced World War One, everyone put on their politically correct hats and said, "Oh, they better be careful. That's a big deal war." Like World War One's obviously a big deal, but so is World War Two. I mean, and so yeah, I think I think public intimidation got to them as far as how much they felt. They wanted to go. I mean, you could you were talking about, Cain, how you were like rolling your eyes at Johnny Smith dies 1902 to 1918.
1942 to 1946.
He somehow goes back in time. But yeah, so I wish they could have, though. That would have been cool if they could have the freedom to be a little, because I don't care. I mean, war's terrible, but men are men, and people find ways to kind of,
To
confide
deal
in
with
each
their
other.
reality.
To crack jokes. Yes, exactly. Like, I feel like almost you crack more jokes when times are at the hardest. So, yeah. It's
Just World War One things.
Yeah, right.
well, that's a particularly bad hashtag, but
I like Bad Company 2 in the orange tier myself, but it could be lower, like at the bottom esque area of it.
I mean, I talked myself.
I don't know that much about it, so I can't really give my 2 cents. But if there's any Battlefield game that I usually hear anything about, it's that one.
Yeah, same.
So I feel like it needs to be represented. But Josh has actually played it, so he has the trump card there.
This lower blob is just a bunch of like good 4 out of 5 shooters. It's hard to separate. It's hard to separate them in a sense.
What do you think the best shooter is here, Josh?
And let's list them off real quick for people. Rainbow Six Vegas 2, Resistance 2, BioShock Infinite, Battlefield Bad Company 2, Killzone 2, as far as first-person shooters go. The only other shooter would be Saints Row the Third.
So I really, it like burns my soul to say this, but of all those shooters, the one that I put the most time into was Infinite. BioShock Infinite.
Okay, hold up. Let's pause on the whole podcast right now. Tommy and I just dropped for like a good 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So we lost all that stuff, and there's probably going to be a lot of editing of us like trying to figure out what's going on, us talking amongst ourselves while
It's
you guys
just
are
20
discussing.
seconds. I can fix it pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Okay.
It didn't.
Okay.
We didn't skip a beat on Cain and I's end. The conversation still flowed, so we should be
Okay,
good.
Yeah,
cool.
it was fine. We didn't
Okay,
even know.
yeah, then you can just
Yeah.
just.
I've been
delete
marking the
us or
time
some
for
shit.
certain things, so I'll just mark this time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And where's your Wi-Fi signal?
Just tell me
Okay.
when to stop.
Oh, I mean, like we're good now. So
Yeah, we're good
okay.
now.
We're obviously talking to you. So,
So what I just said was that out of those, I asked you what the best shooter of that was listed, and then I said the one that I played the most was probably Bioshock Infinite.
more than Killzone 2.
And he said it burns his soul that he did. Now, Bioshock Infinite, real quick, while Josh is thinking about his favorite shooter on the list, Bioshock Infinite, I think, again, I think about names and I think about franchises and how they change our perception of video games a lot of the time. If Bioshock Infinite was not Bioshock, if it was another completely new franchise, I think it would have been heralded far more than it was for being kind of a awesome, stylistic, interesting shooter. It had some serious flaws. I think and I'm not usually the one to toot this horn, but I think it was actually over gory. It certainly didn't have the kind of flow that Bioshock 1 had. The world and stuff, of course, was incredible. That's just the nature of Bioshock. But I think in a lot of ways, because it was compared to Bioshock 1, people were really kind of harsh towards Bioshock Infinite. Just personally, real quick.
I think that the shooting in Bioshock Infinite was a lot better. I think the gameplay felt better than the first game. But I don't know. The thing about Bioshock to me is that it's just I 1 and 2. I won't go hard into that, but I kind of do the roll my eyes thing too. When I play Bioshock Infinite, I feel like I'm playing a game that was made to make people feel smart.
Elaborate.
Does that make sense?
I understand where you're coming from. I totally get that it could come off almost pretentious.
It feels pretentious to me. Infinite was a little bit less pretentious, but I think it was just kind of more like Bioshock 1 actually had some cool stuff about it, like whether or not I like it or not. Like the elements were cool and the environment was really cool and it did really interesting things with storytelling. Infinite didn't really do any of that. It just had better shooting and a worse story. So
Well, man. Ooh, you ever just get like socked in the gut? Because and this is like a whole fundamentals thing that is like a totally side tangent, and we'll try to keep on a very tight wrap here.
Totally.
When it comes to how you view games and I view games is massively different. And like kind of first and foremost for me, like what it really comes down to is if the story is interesting, if it ties in with events from previous games, if those have been released, prior to a certain game title, or if they're like canonically correct. And that's the more stuff that I'm intrigued, and that's my driving force when I'm playing a game. Not so much the overall gameplay mechanics, whether that's good or bad. Case in point, the original Bioshock. By no means am I like I don't have any. I have no delusions that the first Bioshock was a pretty shit shooter. It was very clunky and played very poorly, but the events that happened in that game were so crazy and outlandish, and like the atmosphere is so cool. It pushed me through that game through to completion. I'll just pretend that Bioshock 2 doesn't exist because that game, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good in its own right, but it's
Bioshock 2 was Bioshock 1 opposite day.
My argument, in a sense, too, and we need to make sure that this is Bioshock Infinite conversation, not Bioshock
Yeah.
1. Cain versus Josh
I
and
was kind
I,
of trying to
in a
work
lot
out
of
to that,
ways.
but yeah.
Yeah. Cain and Josh and I all differ tremendously on Bioshock 1. It's going to be one of the more interesting conversations of our final segment. Regardless, though, I certainly think it doesn't go with Cain. I think it obviously doesn't go with his interest like it does with ours, but I think there's also people who were into literature back in the day, and they're very sophisticated, know their shit people into literature, but they probably still found like 1984 pretentious or Fahrenheit 451 pretentious. Like these are it's just one of those things, and we don't get a lot of these in video games, and I think a lot of ways that was what we like about Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite. I think if you remove a lot of that stuff that you found pretentious, then I think it's a shooter that I wouldn't even look twice at, because it's not my genre when they don't do things of that nature. But Bioshock Infinite especially, I think I like it where it is on the list in a lot of ways. It feels like a 70, maybe like a 65, probably not. I mean, it feels in that area because It certainly wasn't Bioshock 1.
So, Yeah, I
guess
agree.
We'll get back to that philosophy thing.
Yeah, I love where you're
Yeah.
going, Josh, and that's totally
Yeah.
I just want to save that awesome conversation for the last segment.
Totally. I just, as far as this conversation right now and where we should rank Bioshock Infinite, like what you guys said is that the main thing about Bioshock is that it's like the story, right? Like that's kind of what drives you. When you think back on Bioshock Infinite, is there anything about that story that you remember? Can you think about the ending and remember what happened without looking up a wiki? Like, did it stick out to you?
Yes, every moment of that game I can
Okay,
tell you
that's
from
good.
start to finish.
I don't at all.
The world jumping and your relationship with Elizabeth, I felt like were really strong. I think the world, of course, was strong, but I don't think that's exact. World and story are separate in a lot of ways. But I think it's a strong game. I personally would take BioShock Infinite both at the time and now, as far as to play a game, over most of the shooters on this list. Maybe not Rainbow Six Vegas 2 with a buddy, which that might be deserved to be talked about. That is a great co-op game. I would certainly take it over Resistance 2 or Killzone 2 personally, but that might also be more my taste. I'm not as into the kind of the traditional sci-fi shooters.
Yeah, essentially for me it was pretty much a toss-up in between Bioshock Infinite or Rainbow Six Vegas 2, mainly because for Bioshock it was a really great story and all the subtle drops from all the different series thrown into like one massive fan service game that was like a big nod to the player, like the loyal player throughout their game series, was really cool and neat. But also, Rainbow Six Vegas 2 was almost an unparalleled co-op experience, not only on the same console, but multiplayer stuff for a tactical shooter. It was one of those games you could sit down and you could set the difficulty, like crank it up to the max and put the density of enemies in the game and spend hours trying to master a single level, and it would play out differently every time. So, I guess that was my own internal struggle, but I would probably personally put Bioshock Infinite over Rainbow Six Vegas, and even over Resistance and games like Killzone 2 as well too. So that's my piece.
And I think Resistance and Killzone speak to you way more than they speak to any of us. So I think that says stuff.
No, Resistance 2 speaks volumes to Cain. I'll tell
you
that.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Resistance too, but if I was to, I don't know, I think Bioshock Infinite's the better game. I think Bioshock Infinite's probably the best game of these shooters here. But I haven't played Bad Company 2 that much, so yeah, I think Bioshock Infinite feels right.
What if we do Bioshock Infinite? And we don't need to make this just shooters, but it feels like the non-shooters feel a little weak in my eyes. Both Cain's beloved Mario Bros. And my beloved Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Tommy Knight's beloved Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So we're kind of just focusing on the shooters right now. But I think Bioshock Infinite, followed by Rainbow Six Vegas 2, followed by, did we say Resistance or Bad Company? Maybe both.
Nah, I feel like Resistance 2 is stronger than Bad Company. I mean, really the only thing, like, when you strip Bad Company down to what makes that game great is purely just the multiplayer. And for that generation, there was, 5 other games.
A glut of multiplayer military shooters.
I think Saints Row the Third actually deserves to be above a couple of these games. I think I wasn't a Saints Row fan until Saints Row the Third. I think it was one of the Sleeping Dogs as well, but it was certainly one of the better examples of a kind of Grand Theft Auto spin-off, like an actual one that I wanted.
It embraced its absurdity and
it was great.
Give itself its own personality.
I usually don't go for that lowbrow humor like Cain was kind of alluding to with other games, but I think Saints Row the Third actually did it in a pretty fun way.
It's because they didn't half-ass it. They were just like, they fully committed to this.
Saints Row feels more like South Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Humor. Like, it goes all, it doesn't pull any punches.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about DMC? That's one we've kind of avoided talking about so far.
I was just thinking about that.
I think
it's a great action game,
but
I think it's really good.
I never played it, so I don't know where it belongs.
I dabbled in Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance a little bit, but I actually played DMC. I didn't beat it, unfortunately. I don't beat a ton of the games, as people will know, but I did enjoy DMC quite a bit, and it just does some great stuff, especially despite all the hate that it got. It really embraces its style, especially like there's a scene, and I could just love this scene so much that it reflects fondly on the game, but there's more or less a scene where he's jumping into it's pretty much Fox News, and you're having this crazy like digital battle with a Fox News anchor, and he's just spewing his. It's not called Fox News in the game, of course, but it looks just like their logo and all that. And he's just spewing the hate, and you're fighting it like action character fighting style. And the game just had again style. I don't know. I feel like style carries a lot of weight for me on this list.
Yeah, like I mean, the cosmetic changes to Dante were really where the hate came from, but from what I have heard from people, it's the same thing of why I like Vanquish so much. I mean, they both have a great sense of style. The only reason why I rank Vanquish higher among Bayonetta, DMC, and it is because it fully embraces its own nature and everything like that. But I mean, it's probably one of those games that I do want to go back to and play just because of how solid the gameplay is.
Yeah, DMC is the best playing Devil May Cry game.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And I played 4, and it's just I couldn't get into. That was my first introduction to the series, and I was just like, it didn't really leave a good impression.
I would actually like to see DMC personally right between Rainbow Six and Resistance 2. But if you guys aren't okay with that, below Resistance 2 and above Battlefield. Which? The first one?
I like it. I like it in between Vegas and Resistance.
Yeah, like I like it that there too. I also was thinking maybe Saints Row fit in between there as well. Like maybe Saints just below DMC.
I would totally agree with that. I'm just so cautious with Resistance 2 and Killzone with both of you guys. Like, it's always been... It's like everything against PlayStation. I just don't really like console-only shooters. If a shooter didn't come out on PC, it's not my jam. And so, like, I know that you guys generally really appreciated those games. So I keep, like, worried if I'm gonna overstep.
No. That was just a time when Josh and I lived together, and we both were playing the PS3 because it was still kind of new, and we discovered online shooters together, like, you know, console online shooters, at least.
Yeah, like
so we played Killzone 2 and Resistance 2 a lot.
I kind of feel like everyone kind of discovered like Call of Duties and like other Battlefield multiplayers. Like for me and Cain, it was like we went fucking ham on Killzone 2. Like we were seriously like a few ranks away from top rank in that game, which I've never prestiged in any multiplayer game. Never even got that close with anything at all. So that kind of is mostly our experience. And Killzone 2 overall was a very clunky game. I mean, it just felt like you were wading through molasses constantly.
It did, yeah. That's a great way to say it, yeah.
It's seriously, it's by no imagination, you know, stretch of the imagination that it's a really good shooter. So, no hard feelings there for sure. Resistance 2 definitely had a better story for sure.
Yeah, I've always, and you can kind of tell, even from like people's response to Resistance versus Killzone. Obviously, they're always compared to each other, just like Jack and Ratchet. People definitely held Resistance pretty high regard, especially 2.
Yeah. And Insomniac, they're masters.
All right, Cain.
I only played.
So I love Marvel vs. Capcom 3. You love New Super Mario Bros. I think both are interesting, decent games, especially for their franchise. But I think both deserve to be bumped below Valkyria Chronicles.
I agree.
Now, do you think Mario Bros. Wii is a better game than Skyward Sword?
No.
I don't either. So
I do think though that it's more important though.
That's interesting. So then what do we do?
Because
I want Marvel vs. Capcom 3 above Skyward Sword, just real quick. I don't want to lose that fight.
Okay. No, I think that's fair. Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I don't really have any attachment to it, but I think it's good and it's a cool game. It has cool characters and it kind of brought back... It solidified the fighting scene that Street Fighter 4 had revitalized. So I think that New Super Mario Bros. Wii is important because in my head that's like the family co-op game, and I think that a lot of kids, that was their first experience to Mario. There are tons of people that I work with, tons and tons of people that have like 10-year-old kids that love Mario because of that game. Like that game brought a new generation to Nintendo. And I mean, it was a good game. It was solid. It just wasn't amazing because of the DS game.
Right.
Yeah.
If that had come out before the DS game, we would have been like, you know, head over heels for it.
And like I was saying, if you take a lot of these games that are sequels or like BioShock Infinite and you slap a new franchise on them, I think people love them. I think the same could be said vice versa. We hold Mario games to a high bar. Same with Zelda games. So
yeah, and don't forget, Cameron, like that was actually like you, me, and one of your exes. But that was one of the first games that we played through to completion co-op when I moved back from Seattle. So yeah,
I know, and I think even with that said, I think I still don't exactly remember it super fondly. I feel like it was just something for us to co-op do on the Wii, and it was a good game. I don't want to take too much away from it. Had a good time running through it co-op and all that. But I think even with that said,
The fun of boss
I'm
is
fine
awesome.
with it. Yeah, I'm fine with it being lower on the list, but not super low. So I'm not sure. I kind of lost it there, Cain. Mario Bros. Wii or Skyward Sword, which is higher?
I would put Mario above Skyward Sword.
And I actually almost want Dragon Age Origins above Skyward Sword. Can we do that? And then I'll stop messing with Skyward Sword.
I think the Marvel or Mario. I think either one is.
What about Dragon Age Origins above Marvel vs. Capcom 3?
No.
Wow,
No?
really?
No.
It's what it meant to a lot of people, and especially the PC version of Dragon Age Origins was legitimate. It was an awesome game. Now that doesn't, I guess, reflect here though, because we're talking about the consoles. So okay, I'm fine with it where it is. I was just kind of thinking. I know so many people who just love Origins, kind of like people with New Super Mario Bros. But I'm actually pretty happy with this. The reason why we had to talk about last tier is because we had that weird little mix-up. So now, with that said, the games that bumped up, Valkyria Chronicles and Lego, are now in the orange tier. Should they stay where they are, or should they move above some of these games?
I think Valkyria probably could live somewhere between Resistance and Battlefield, maybe even above Resistance.
I agree.
Cool, I like it.
Cool. And then Lego could probably be above Battlefield.
Okay, so I feel like we almost got this bottom part ranked. We just gotta pretty much take our larger first nominated games and do the hard part
Here,
and figure out which is better.
One more switch, though. Forza over Battlefield, and then I think we're good. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. And we're back. Cool, so I think we're really close to finishing this list up. So, Cain, you were saying there's probably a few subtle changes to make on this list?
Yeah, I think that Mortal Kombat is too high.
Let's see. It is currently below Donkey Kong Country Returns and above Vanquish, Viva Pinata, Mirror's Edge. Yeah,
I would personally move it below Mirror's Edge.
I might have a controversial one. I might
maybe not
personally. No, I'm fine. I'm actually fine with that. How are you and Tommy there, Josh?
I'm fine, as low as 55, but probably not any lower, just because in the grand scheme of things, it's one of those things. When it comes to fighting games this generation, Street Fighter IV is kind of the one that helped revitalize the genre and was the real breath that the genre needed. I don't think there's any denying that. But Mortal Kombat did help sustain and also broaden the audience of the fighting genre. So definitely not as influential as far as impact on the industry that Street Fighter IV had, but definitely did help expand the genre. Brought in probably more new players than even Marvel 3 and Street Fighter 4, I would say. And Mortal Kombat has always been right. And Mortal Kombat has always been kind of had that broad appeal. So right around the middle. So 50 to 55, anywhere in there.
I personally want to see it above Mirror's Edge. Just high.
I feel games. That's accurate.
Mortal Kombat
sure,
is way
that's
more
fine.
significant. I have kind of one that I think you guys might explode on me for, and I love this game as much, if not more, than a lot of people in this podcast. I think, and you guys probably see what I'm clicking on, I think Viva Pinata could drop anywhere as far as down to below Ni no Kuni. I really like Viva Pinata. It does some fantastic things, but they are kind of just, it's a great game, but it's a little gimmicky. It's a little not less whole or polished as a lot of these other games. Like certain ones like Spec Ops, for example, I don't have a horse in that race, but I didn't even play Ni no Kuni that much, but I personally kind of respect it a little more than the 50 hours I put into Viva Pinata. Just some games feel like Viva Pinata, we really love the game, but it feels a little overrated on our list right now. But like I said, I know you guys aren't gonna like this.
I think it probably lives in between Assassin's Creed and Borderlands, honestly.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine.
I think you touched on a good point.
Yeah.
I think that Viva Pinata should come down in between what Josh just said, and I think maybe Ni no Kuni should move up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I kind of put Viva Pinata around the same area as Spec Ops: The Line, kind of in that range. Just a solid game, but probably is a little bit high. I definitely do agree that Mortal Kombat should be above Mirror's Edge, though, just because Mirror's Edge definitely kind of it had a good thing going for it, and then the last 2 levels kind of dropped the ball.
Yeah.
So
I would
I agree with that.
I would actually like it to go Mortal Kombat, Ni no Kuni, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and then Mirror's Edge.
yeah, Black
do you guys
Flag
think?
above Mirror's Edge. I mean, like that sounds good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm on board.
So yeah, we're starting to really solidify a rank here. Ni no Kuni, I forgot, was Ni no Kuni above or below Mortal Kombat? Below?
Below.
Ni no Kuni was
And
below
then
it. Yes.
Assassin's Creed, then Mirror's Edge. Okay, so that looks right.
Yes.
That actually looks really solid. I like Vanquish being behind Donkey Kong Country Returns and above Mortal Kombat. I think that actually, I don't know if I'd always agree with that, but I really think that reflects our list. I love it being above all these other games because we all love Vanquish.
I think Bioshock Infinite should move above LA Noire.
I would agree. And I like LA Noire a lot. I actually think, I was going to change Catherine around, but that might not be a bad spot for it.
Yep, I'm good with that.
And then everything else was more or less kind of already. We kind of worked our way from New Super Mario Brothers up, so the bottom of the list is kind of already.
How much do we like LA Noire, actually, in a lot of ways? I like LA Noire quite a bit, but as a whole, I could almost see LA Noire dropping down to above Saints Row the Third, below DMC. And Valkyria Chronicles also feels suspect being below Saints Row the Third, and maybe even DMC. Maybe not. Maybe Valkyria Chronicles above Saints, and LA Noire above Valkyria Chronicles, or below it? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I think that those are good, but I think that the one that sticks out to me is Resistance 2, and I think it's too high. I think the Lego games are better. I think Forza Motorsport 4 is better.
I think that's fair, yeah. Yeah, like Resistance shifts down just above Battlefield Bad Company, and then both Lego and Forza move up 2. Or not 2, but
Yep,
they
I
move
agree.
up 1.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else jumps out? Because I'm feeling pretty
it's-
okay on a lot of this.
I don't know, it feels criminal that Killzone 2 is higher than New Super Mario Bros.
Really? Okay.
Really?
Did I say
I
it? And
think
when we
so.
say really, I personally am not saying really there because of my own opinion. I'm saying really because that surprises me for Josh to say that.
I mean, I would almost just say Killzone moves down to New Super Mario Bros. Level, and then Marvel and New Super Mario Bros. Yeah, just like that.
Yep. Like just for
I'm cool
because
with
of gameplay type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because it really, honestly, like, the multiplayer was really the only
Saving grace.
saving grace for that
Okay.
game, and it was pretty mediocre at best, I'd say.
Okay.
Personally. I don't know how you feel on that, Cain.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that it's also worse than Skyward Sword, but we don't have to do that.
I have no horse in that race.
Yeah, neither. Like I'm
unless
fine.
you're willing to trade those.
I think this is
it's
our
fine.
this is our child, Cain. I agree. We should put that under Zelda. We should do that.
Nice.
Look at all these
Cool.
Cain games
So-
sneaking up.
I know.
I swear, if Skyward is not going any tier higher. No, sirree.
No, it feels right to me too.
Okay,
Sometime
so,
after this podcast, Kane's gonna get a suspicious email from Miyamoto just being like, "Keep it coming."
man, I really,
Yeah.
yeah, right. I love our 51 through 50, or 50, our 50 through 60 is just rock solid. I think I love that.
I think I do too. It's good.
Despite the abundance
So
of
I'm gonna-
shooters, there seems like a nice variety, at least.
This tier was just heavy in shooters, and like I said,
it is.
all
and
these
like
games
I
are
was
great.
saying, it just feels like a reflection of
That's
the
kind of
genre
where they live, I think.
of the generation.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. And just as a comment as a whole, we comment about these games like they aren't worthy of being top 100 sometimes because we're comparing them to each other, because we're contrasting. Don't get us wrong; these games are all very good, and you're totally right. Like, these are your 4 out of 5 shooters. These are games that were probably in the top 10 games of their year, but they certainly weren't probably in the top 5 or the game of the year. So we're in that category. We're gonna get to the juicy stuff here soon.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of doing this list has made me realize why so many publications do a top 50 and not a top 100, because the conversations and the quality of games are insane. Starting next week. So with that said, I will go ahead and rattle off our current rankings. We will go backwards order like we did last time. Just real quick changes because things were weird. Killzone 2 got bumped down to 73. Metro 2033 got bumped down to 78. We had a few other changes with honorable mentions, but going from 76 upwards. Our top 25 from this section, going from number 75 to 50, is going to be the following. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Fate of Two Worlds, Battlefield Bad Company 2, and Resistance 2, number 75 through 70. The LEGO Game Series, L.A. Noire, Saints Row the Third, Forza Motorsports 4, and Valkyria Chronicles are going to be 70 through 65. DMC Devil May Cry, Rainbow Six Vegas 2, Bioshock Infinite, Catherine, and Dragon's Crown, 61 through 65. Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, Spec Ops The Line, Borderlands 2, Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise, and Mirror's Edge are 56 through 60. And the last 5, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, Mortal Kombat, Vanquish, and Donkey Kong Country Returns, going from low bottom tier to our number 1 of the second of 4 tiers. It very well could squeak into yellow next week, guys. I hope you enjoyed this ridiculous conversation. I cannot say it enough. It is going to get ugly next week, and especially the week after that. You got a taste of it with Cain's and his stupid Bioshock opinion. So,
hey man,
Okay.
I didn't even bother weighing
sorry,
in
that
on
wasn't-
that one yet.
that wasn't very politically correct there of me, was it? Anyhow, I guess we'll turn it back over to Josh and finish this out.
Okay, so place bets now on how high Donkey Kong Country Return climbs this list. But anyway, thank you for sticking around and
32.
listening. 32. Oh,
Dang.
strong.
Actually,
High roller.
that currently puts it. I mean, these rankings don't matter. Sorry, but that currently puts it above.
Hold on. No spoilers. Let's not spoil the rest of the games
Sorry,
on this list.
sorry.
I think it's fun. It's almost like a reveal. I think week over week. So, but anyways, yeah. Thank you for sticking around as long as you have. We're glad you're here. Again, yeah. If you have anything to say on this list at all, whether that's you agree with our expert critique on these games, or you don't think that we have placed stuff in the proper spots, go ahead and write into us at supertropetv@gmail.com. Or just anything else. If you want to just tell us about your day, that's also cool too. We'll read it. But yeah,
We'll read anything at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. Corrections, pretty hot takes. Pretty hot deal. A lot of people like to correct people when they're wrong, and I'm wrong all the time, so it should be a field day. But anyways, yeah, we will be back next week, and we will tackle 50 to 26.
Yep.
And probably talk about other game stuffs. Yeah, and probably very tired from
Extra Life.
Which also, yes, Extra Life at our store. It's a 24-hour gaming charity event, which actually happens to be 25 hours this year because of fallback. That takes place at...
Oh god,
Yep,
I didn't.
get ready for it.
Shit.
It's happening.
And I mean that in the most charitable way possible.
Oh, for sure. It happens November 5th at our store gameplay. Starts from 10 a.m. and goes to 10 a.m. November 6th. And we will be doing different tournaments and stuff. Cameron and I are still kind of working out some of the finer details on the tournaments, but more details will soon come. But
At the very least, especially for listeners, our goal, I certainly don't want to commit to anything, but our goal is to stream a ton of it. And even beyond streaming, if you can't catch it live, I'm hoping to be able to break it into little 2-hour chunks and just riddle our YouTube channel with it.
Yep.
So
For sure.
Should be ways to get the content in a lot of different ways.
And it's also one of those things, if you're not in the local area, check out to see if there's an Extra Life event in your area. They happen every year, and they're always a lot of fun.
Certainly for a good cause. Ours is for children's hospitals across the nation, and ours will be donated to the Sacred Heart Children's Hospital in Spokane, Washington. But at any rate, yeah, so hopefully we'll be conscious next time we come around for a podcast. And anyways, great. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you all. Maybe not see you, but hopefully you'll be here next week. Bye.
Do you guys know that Super Mario RPG came out in 1998?
What the hell?
Son of a bitch. I hate you so much. I I hate you so much.
Same year as StarCraft. And
I wanted to
every other
squeak that
good
one
game.
in ever since you said saying things wrong. Which, to be fair, your mentality was correct. It is late on the Super Nintendo. 1996, the same year or a year after the 64 came out. I want to say the same year.
It's same year.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not doing this again.